Here's our week one health focus. This week, we're going to focus on dieting do's and don'ts. So I'll start off by saying, this is not a meal plan. I'm not going to set everything up for you because that's just not what I do. And I actually think it's better off you learning how to do that yourself. It's going to go a lot further and last you a lot longer if you can learn the basics and the fundamentals and then put that into effect in your life. So first off, I just want to start off with what is a diet. The word diet has been commandeered to mean, so people have a negative connotation with it. So they think it only means eating low calorie and eating low carb or doing all these special things that you do. But in reality, diet is just what you eat. So even if you're not on a special, quote unquote diet, or if you just eat a standard American diet, that just means whatever you eat is your diet. So that's really when I say dieting, that's what you need to change. So your diet needs to become your lifestyle, or it needs to become part of your lifestyle. So you want a healthy diet for long term. You don't want to do dieting for 8 weeks and then no dieting for 2 weeks. These just become a habit. You want to eat healthy most of the time, have some fast food, every once in a while if you feel like it, or have, you have your cake and ice cream and donuts and you have that every once in a while when you feel like it. And I'll teach you how to fit that in and how you can make that work without it completely ruining your weight loss or weight maintenance goals or even your muscle gain goals or whatever it is that you're trying to do for your body composition. The next thing we'll get into is why low calorie dieting, or why most people fail when they're dieting, or why it at least fail long term. A lot of people have a lot of short term success. Almost everybody gets that. I'm sure everybody listening to this has had times in their life when they've they've went really hard, they went low calorie, and they drop some weight really quick. But then what ends up happening is you regain that weight, and usually a little bit more weight. I don't mind fast weight loss if you can sustain it, but most people can't. So the reason most people can't sustain these diets, or they only do it for a month or 2 months or 3 months or even a year sometimes, and then it comes back, is just because your body can't handle that. It's a lot of stress for your body to be on a diet, or to be low calorie. So you really have to learn how to just create habits and do it slowly. Slowly is almost always better. Like I said, there are some people that do, lose a lot of weight quickly and they keep it off, and that is great. But most of us, that's just not going to happen, myself included. Those are really outliers to the story, and we want to create long-lasting change, create a healthy life. So what happens when you go really low calorie is basically you're completely changing your hormones and your brain chemistry, and things are happening, and eventually, basically you're fighting this all off with willpower. You have this goal in your head and you're able to just push through. You can power through. You don't really let it slow you down. You might have cravings, but you're like, I'm really focused. Eventually, your body and your brain don't even let you think about that goal anymore. So you've probably had that happen where maybe you're doing really well for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and all of a sudden, without you even realizing, you just maybe you're sitting in a restaurant or on the couch and you come out of a trance and you just ate a whole bunch of food. You feel like crap. Your stomach's really full, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, why did I just do that? Why did I eat all that food? The good thing is it's not necessarily your fault. That's your unconscious. That's what I'm talking about with the hormones and the brain chemistry. There's a lot going on that we don't know about, that we don't realize. And that, especially in your brain, your body is telling yourself like, hey, we're starving. Like, we need to survive. None of this, cut this crap out. Like, you don't need to be starving yourself right now. We're going to eat. And then it just kind of takes over. And so not only does it do that, so it kind of throws off your goals, it's actually kind of screwing with everything long term too. So that's why people do really good, lose a bunch of weight in the short term, but then when they gain it back, they usually gain a little bit more. I'll keep repeating this over and over because it has to become stuck in our heads. Is we're trying to create habits. I want to create long-lasting habits. So that doesn't mean 100% you have to be all in. You have to only eat salad, only eat chicken breast, only eat lean meat or something like that. I am much more of the I'm much more of the philosophy that 80% of your food is good, it's healthy, and then 20% of your food is maybe not so healthy. Or if you just like eating healthy, that's great too, but you don't have to force yourself to eat like cookies or candy or something. But 80-20 is a really good is a good place to start and to stick with. So just a quick example of how this can happen. So let's say we have somebody that weighs 200 pounds and they want to lose 20 pounds, we'll say, and they want to do it in 1 month. So 20 pounds in 1 month, first off, is very difficult. It's a lot of weight. You may not realize it, but that's 5 pounds a week. So basically, what that equates to, this is a very rough estimate. So basically, 3,500 calories equals a pound. That's that's a rough estimate. It's not like a 1-to-1 ratio. Everybody's a little bit different, and there's a lot of different factors into it. But we'll just use that as our example. So if you need to cut out 3,500 calories for 1 pound, and you're actually trying to go for 5 pounds to lose that 20 pounds in a month. So 5 pounds a week times 3,500 is 17,500 calories. That means you have to cut out 2,500 calories a day, which is all of the calories. Basically, if you were eating, let's say you're eating 3,000 calories, you've been gaining weight, so you've been overeating a little bit, you're eating 3,500 or 3,000 calories. That means you're down to only being able to eat 500 calories a day. This is possible. It's possible to do, but you can already tell 500 calories is nothing. You can already tell that's going to be very difficult. But let's say this person stuck to this and they lost their 20 pounds in that month. They only ate 500 calories a day, basically. They lost their 20 pounds. What happens? What happens to almost 99% of people that do this is it stops. It happens what I was just talking about, where your brain chemistry and your hormones take over, and basically you give in and you start eating. Or maybe your life just gets busy and you have kids to worry about, you got a job, and you just start gradually eating again without even realizing it. Weigh yourself 3 months later and you gained all that weight back plus 5 pounds. So now you're at 205 pounds after 3 months after you lost all that weight. This is very real. It might seem unrealistic, but I've seen this happen to a lot of people, and it's very, very common and easy to do. The approach that I want people to use is, you have to step away and you have to think long term. So 5 pounds a week is just too much. It might happen on occasion, and that's great, but that shouldn't be the goal. So let's look at 1 pound a week instead, and we'll do the same hypothetical here. So we have a person that they want to lose 20 pounds. They only want to lose 1 pound a week, though, because they're trying to do this very, safely. They want to create good habits, and they want to make a long-lasting change. So it's going to take 20 weeks. So if we use that same 3,500 per pound equation, they just have to cut out 3,500 calories over the course of the week. That's only 500 calories a day. So let's say their maintenance calories is 2,500, which that's just an estimate. You don't really have to worry about this number. It's just an example. That means they're reduced down to 2,000 calories. So already they're at a huge advantage. So they get to eat 2,000 calories a day. The other person was eating 500 calories a day. So your energy levels are already going to be way higher doing the 2,000. So then let's just use, again, a month. So after a month, they're down 4 pounds because they lost 1 pound a week. So they're at 196 pounds. And then the other person is at their 180 pounds because they lost the 20 pounds in the month. So at first it seems like, okay, that person that did the huge diet is doing much better. But now let's look forward 3 months. That person that did that huge diet, lost 20 pounds, they're probably going to keep on gaining over those 3 months if they did. And let's say they're up to 210, for example, which again is very, very common and not hard to do. The other person, on the other hand, they kept doing their modest 1 pound a week. So now it's been 12 weeks and they're down to 188. So they're at 188, other person's at 210. Obviously, you would rather be at 188 if you're trying to lose weight over the 210. So there's the advantage. And they really are not going to be in a huge calorie deficit. So they still have plenty of energy. There's some other things in there that I'm not putting in, but that's something we'll worry about later. But this is just the overall example. So you have to think to yourself, do you want to be at 210 and you're doing these huge diets? Or are you going to do 188 and still be on track and keep going? And let's say you have 100 pounds you need to lose. That's a lot. You really can't lose that fast. It's going to take you a while, especially to keep it off and maintain that. So if you look at it and just do the 1 pound a week every week for a year, that's over 50 pounds, which is a huge difference. Not many people can even do that. So that's really what you have to look at. You have to look long term. You have to think, even though I know you want to lose the weight now, you want to be lighter, you want to feel better immediately, you got to think long term and think about 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road. You don't want to keep on going up and down. You don't want to have to do these hard diets and then you just give up and you eat a whole bunch. Long-term success is what we're looking for. Another thing that often comes up that I talk to people, everybody thinks that they are the outlier. We all want to be that person that can lose 20 pounds each month and then keep it off forever. But the reality is we are not. There's a reason why they are outliers, 1 in a million type of people that do these things, or they just have the right genetics for it. You have to assume that you are really not there. And even if you are somebody that can do it, you still need these habits because you still want to think long term. So just put yourself, kind of ground yourself, look ahead 5 years down the road. Would you rather be 50 pounds lighter in 5 years, or would you rather go up and down for the next 5 years and keep your weight the same, or go up even? So how do you make this work? So first off, everybody is different. I'm not really somebody that thinks there's only one good diet that you can use. Like, I don't believe in ketogenic diet or a vegan diet or carnivore diet or whatever you choose. I think everybody has their preferences. Something is going to work for you. So what I recommend instead of those things, those are if you're already on one of those diets, or if you have something specific that you follow and it works, that's great. Don't change it. Keep going with that. I'm just going to give you what I suggest to everybody that I talk to, what I use for myself. What I think is best is just counting your calories, counting your macros. It's very tedious, but once you get used to it, it's really not that hard. I mean, I spend maybe 5 minutes a day total putting everything into my phone. That's it. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to use MyFitnessPal, which is the app that I use, and how you can set that up, how you can count your calories, count your macros. We'll try to make that as easy as possible and get you on the right track.